अच्छा वो अच्छा व्हाट्सएप बोला. Religion and Society by Emile Durkheim. Right. Now, as we have said earlier, that Durkheim adopted certain methodologies. Switch on this fan. And the methodology is known as Normalian. In the Normalian process, he will collect the pre-existing explanations, then he will refute them on certain ground, and after refuting he will propose his own explanation, and then he will say what he is saying is correct. Prior to Durkheim, there were two explanations which were more related with the origin of religion. Now, there is a slight difference between the theory of origin of religion and theory of religion. Right? They were, the first was known as E.B. Tyler's animist theory of religion, and second is Max Muller, that is known as naturalism or simply naturalism. I will dictate you, don't worry. Now, these two theories, if you look at animism and naturalism, they talk about what are the circumstances, what were the situation in which religion or religious worship, the worship of God, the worship of soul, spirit originated, right? And the way they have explained, it is being found that their explanation is as such that people worship because of the fear of spirit or fear of something supernatural. We fear of supernatural, we fear of spirit, and that's why we worship them, right? Durkheim has said that if fear is the reason for the rise of religion or for the origin of religion, then religion will be nothing else but collective hallucination. You know what is hallucination? Anybody who knows about hallucination? That is not there. There is a two word which sometimes we can get confused. One is illusion, another is hallucination. Illusion, in fact, you really see them. They are not correct, but you really see them. For example, on a hot summer day when you are moving on a vehicle on a black coated road, then at a distance you find that water is there. And all of us who are there on that vehicle or around that, they see that water. Actually, the water is not there. This is called illusion. Hallucination means nobody is seeing that water, but you are seeing. For example, you might have heard saying many people, मैंने भूत देखा है, मैंने भूत देखा है. Right? Many people you will find, you may not believe, but I believe because I have seen through my own naked eyes the ghost. It had wore a white dress and something like that. Actually, it's your imagination which you find as you are observing in reality. That is called hallucination. Collective hallucination means all of the people of a society are hallucinating the existence of a spirit or God. Right? Now, if you talk about the animism theory, then animist theory is the theory of origin of religion. Right? And this was first given by first systematic study or analysis of origin of religion was given by E.B. Tylor in 1871 in his book Primitive Culture. Now, if you look at 1871, then what you find that was the period immediately after the biological theory of evolution. And one of the prime component of the biological theory of evolution is to trace the origin of life. To trace the origin of life means you want to see the origin of life, and by the same token, inspired by that, Spencer wanted to know the origin of society, right? This person, under that inspiration, since already someone had talked about the origin of society, so he said, let me see about a particular institution, and that's why he talked about the origin of religion itself. Morgan talks about origin of family, right? He talks about origin of religion. Spencer talks about origin of society itself. Morganian theory is much older. Morganian theory is much older. Even before 1859, that theory was given, in which he has talked about the evolution of the family. Right? Just write down. Durkheimian description of religion follows his methodological approach both, अरे यार तुमको देखता हूं तब तुम्हारी कॉपी याद आती है, both social fact approach as well as Normalian. Prior to Durkheim, two explanations existed. Prior to Durkheim, two explanations existed explaining or describing the origin of religion. Animism by E.B. Tylor, Animism by E.B. Tylor, Naturism by Max Muller. Give the heading Animism, because later on when I go to religion chapter, I will not be repeating these things, right? The theory of animism, I'm a bit slow, so that if you find some difficulty in understanding, you can ask me. The theory of animism was propounded by Ankit, though there is no substitute for the classroom thing, but you are missing a lot of things. So what I can do, you can ask the new stencil that can they provide the lecture. I had talked to them, so they were asking for 5,000 rupees extra, right? So I will give you the number so that I don't want you to miss that 1 hour lecture, and you can access the lecture from them, right? So after the class it will be difficult. I will send you SMS, and just tell them that I am enrolled in regular class and something like that, they will definitely provide you, right? Now what you have written? The theory of animism was provided or propounded by E.B. Tylor in his book Primitive Culture, written in 1871. The 60s and 70s of 19th century, the 60s and 70s of 19th century were under tremendous influence of Darwin's biological theory of evolution. First, Spencer propounded the theory of social evolution. Spencer propounded the theory of social evolution, in which he also tried to trace the origin and the gradual progress of human society. Consequently, E.B. Tylor inspired by Darwin and Spencer looked for the origin of the institution of religion. Para change. In this pursuance, he propounded animist explanation, according to which religion emerged by worshipping spirits oblique soul. Now this word spirit was coined by Hegel. The term spirit was coined by Hegel to describe about an entity that is simultaneously part of the human being and society, and also distinguished from it. Right? The term animism, write down, the term animism is derived from the Latin word. The term animism is derived from the Latin word anima, A-N-I-M-A, anima, meaning soul or spirit. And it recognizes the presence of spirit in every animate as well as inanimate objects. According to Tyler, religion in the form of animism originated to satisfy man's intellectual curiosity. This way, Tyler perceived existence of intellectual ability even among primitive men for which he is being criticized. Means the primitive man, he also possesses intellectual ability. Intellectual means thinking capacity. And for that he has been criticized. Further write down, the worship of soul or spirit started because of the certain observations made by primitive man that created confusion and dilemma in the minds of the individuals. Those observations were like death, dream, shadow, reflection in water bodies, etc. Tyler argues that animism derived from man's attempt to answer two questions. First, what is it that makes the difference between a living body, that is, what is it that makes the difference between a living body and a dead one? Note of interrogation. Second, question mark. What are those human shapes that appears in dreams and visions? Have you seen people sleeping? Everybody has seen. What do you observe? When a person Suppose you are at a distance and two persons are lying, right? One person is sleeping, another person is dead. You are at a distance, so to say, about 100 meters. What difference you will observe? Nothing? It means actually, as far as the external appearances are concerned, there is hardly any difference between a sleeping person and a dead person. Suppose you are watching them for 8 to 10 hours or 12 hours, then definitely if he is not under the impact of drug, he will get up, but the dead man will not get up. Are you getting this? This is one thing that definitely creates some amount of dilemma in your mind, right? Then what happens if you look at the dead person? He has died, and for some time the member of the society believe that he will be alive, because every day after 8 hours he was awaking. Now this time he might be sleeping for a longer time, so after 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 10 days he will be awaking. But gradually his body will start disintegrating and something will happen, and that will give an idea in their mind that this person is never going to come. That's why among the tribals you will find there are two types of funeral. One is known as wet funeral, another is known as dry funeral. Wet funeral is done immediately after the death, and dry funeral is done after some time when the tribal people come to believe that he is no more going to be alive, right? Then next is what? That if you look at the person, you have thought he is dead, right? One day you were sleeping one night and you find that person in your dream. The confusion, the crisis, the dilemma in mind will further get aggravated. Once you are considering he is permanently died, even after that, after some time, what you are finding that he is coming in your dream, and you don't know what is dream. Now you must have seen the children, small children laughing in their dream. Do they know they are dreaming? They don't know they are dreaming. They cry in the dream, right? We modern man know what is the phenomena of dream. Now just imagine a situation, the earliest man, the first man who would have dreamt. पागल हो जाएगा वो, right? He will get scared, and in that dream you will find the person, dead person, doing many strange things which you could not imagine that he could have done when he was alive. Normally it was not possible to go on the top of a tree, but in dream you find he is standing on the tip of the tree. You know, if I go I will fall, but in dream you are finding that person on the tip of the tree. What sort of idea that will give in your mind? We are going to arrive at that question. Answer. Parachain write down, primitive man resolved these dilemmas. Primitive man resolved these dilemmas by conceptualizing. Primitive man resolved these dilemmas by conceptualizing prevalence of two souls in the human body. In the human body, one body soul, the first one is known as body soul, and another permanent soul. the body soul dies, the body soul dies, but the permanent soul never dies and is very powerful. And is very powerful. Now, what you are finding, there is something which you are considering exists and that is different from you, that permanent soul, right? Because it is intangible also. Secondly, you are considering it is very powerful because it was doing many strange things which you could never imagine when you were awake. Now, you are meeting with something which is very powerful. What sort of relationship you can expect from him or that soul? If you meet a very fat man, what kind of relationship you can expect from him? No. Sociologically speaking, you can expect two types of relationship: cooperative and conflict. Or to say that big fat man will be benevolent for you, it will help you, or it will try to destroy you. If the man is benevolent to you, cooperating in achieving your goal, you have nothing to worry, you will be very happy. But if he is going to destroy you, because he is all powerful, you cannot expect yourself to defeat him. So what is the way out to prevent yourself from that destruction? Bhaiya, Dada, appeasing. So this is what is the situation. This all-powerful soul of ancestors, the dead men were ancestors, this all-powerful soul of ancestors had only two consequences for primitive man. This all-powerful soul of ancestors had only two consequences for the primitive man. Either it could be benevolent, or malevolent. If it is, full stop, then if it is benevolent, then it's only to cheer about. But if it is malevolent, then one needs to fear him. To prevent oneself from infliction of harm, by that all-powerful soul, one is left with no other options but to appease or propitiate the ancestor's soul. The process of appeasement. The process of appeasement, the rites and rituals performed, gave rise to ancestor worship. So first form of worship was ancestor worship. Gradually, the existence of soul was extended to all animate and inanimate objects. And consequently, members of society worshipping multiplicity of souls, and hence polytheism. So animism is a polytheistic religion. Polytheism means believe in too many gods, right? Next, write down, give the heading naturism. The theory of origin of reason was also propounded. The theory of origin of reason was also propounded by linguist Max Muller. Who believed that people believe forces of nature possess supernatural power. Muller argues nature contains surprises, terror, marvels, terror, terror, marvels, marvels, miracles such as volcanoes, thunder, lightning, etc. Awed by, AWED, awed by the power and wonder of nature. Awed by, AWED, awed by the power and wonder of nature, early man suffered from emotional crisis. Early man suffered from emotional crisis, which he countered by transforming it into abstract forces. This way man personified nature. This way, man personified nature. When you talk about Indra Devata, what is this? Personification of rain. When you say Varun Devata, personification of air. Right? So man personified nature and then started worshipping it. Right? Now, since he was a linguist, Max Müller, German, he says that this nature possesses, or the product object of nature possesses supernatural power, also owes to the use of defective language. Write down first. Müller further argues that providing supernatural power to objects of nature owes also to use of defective language. Use of defective language, like thunder sends the rain. Thunder sends the rain. Trees gives us fruit. Trees gives us fruit. By using such sentences, man conceives thunder and tree as powerful. Right? Means here also what you find, that people started worshipping out of fear of natural forces. Now if you compare animism and naturism, animism emerged as a reaction to man's intellectual need, and naturism emerged as a reaction to man's emotional need. Just write down. Whereas animism seeks the origin of religion, in the intellectual needs of human being, naturism seeks its explanation in the emotional needs. Right? Tyler had also said that the religions have evolved from polytheism to monotheism. Right? So down. According to Tyler, religion has evolved from polytheistic stage to monotheistic stage. Now when we will be reading the concept of evolution, you will find that evolution theory is divided into two types. One is known as classical evolution theory. Another is known as neo-evolution theory. Spencer, Comte, Morgan, all belongs to classical evolution theory. Parsons and Lenski and others, they belong to neo-evolution theory. Now, classical evolution theory, when you look at their explanation, they always associate the idea of evolution with progress. Means if the society is evolving, that means it is progressing. Progress means moving towards a better situation, right? Now here also, when you look at the Tyler's evolutionary scheme of religion, then he says religion evolves from polytheistic stage to monotheistic stage. Inherent in this evolution of religion is the idea that monotheistic religion are of higher level in comparison to polytheistic religion. What I said, evolution, classical evolution theory accompanies the idea of progress. So, monotheistic religion belongs to a higher stage and polytheistic religion of backward stage. It means what? Today, if a group of people are practicing animist religion, they can be called as backward. Are you getting it? Right? That is also a sort of cultural bias. Because Tyler belongs to Europe. Europe is characterized by Christianity. Christianity is monotheistic religion. So, the religious practices that is found in Asia and Africa, which are predominantly animistic, the people are termed as backward. Are you getting it? Right? Okay. There was a person, Andrew Lang. Write down. Andrew Lang has criticized Tyler. Andrew Lang, L-A-N-G Lang, has criticized Tyler on the basis that many of the simplest societies have monotheistic religion. Monotheistic religion. I do not have the example right now because Harlambas has not, it has written a statement but it has not given the example. Right. Now, these were the two theories which were refuted by Emile Durkheim. Right. Write down. Durkheim refutes both animism and naturism as they argue that religion originated, people worship due to fear of soul or God. He says that if religion emerged due to fear, then it would be nothing more than collective hallucination. Nothing more than collective hallucination. But actually, religion is reality. religion is reality, comma, not the figment of imagination, comma, consist of, not the figments of imagination, comma, consist of rites and rituals that are observable from outside, that are observable from outside. Right? Means you can see what is that religion through, you can recognize the religion through the practice of certain type of rites and rituals which are observable from outside. So he says religion is a reality, and reality cannot be or should not be explained on the basis of imaginary thing like fear. Right? Write down. And he further argues that reality of religion must not be explained, must not be explained on the basis of something unreal, on the basis of something unreal, comma, the fear. Fear lies in your mind, right? It has nothing to do with that reality. So something is real, religion is real, you are trying to explain with the idea of imagination. He says this is not the appropriate methodological approach, right? Now Durkheim was also critical of the classical evolution theory, though Durkheimian theory also comes under the classical evolution theory. When he talks about mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity, what happens when you talk about a theory, there are multiple elements of that theory, right? Now what do you do? Evolution theory is not only what Spencer says. There are many people. You have collected the explanations of many people, identified the elements, combined them in a unified construct. That is called unified construction of a theory of evolution. So classical evolution theory contains the elements that is being talked by Spencer, that is being talked by Tönnies, that is being talked by Durkheim, but that doesn't mean that every element is being talked by every contributor. Suppose I am asking what is family, and you people are present here. So all these people what will do? They will give their idea of family, and if let us suppose hypothetically on the basis of idea I have to construct the image of family. So I will try to assimilate all the ideas. Now 16 people, 17 people are here. So these 16 people, let us assume that they are, he is giving 10, he is giving 9, he is giving 6 and something like that. Out of 10, 9 maybe 6 common, 3 uncommon, right? So I have articulated all those ideas and then finally arrived at the image of family. Now if you look at the reverse, all those elements that I have created of the family is not confirmed by all the people. Only some elements are confirmed. Are you getting it? Right? So this is what happens also, that Emile Durkheim's theory is evolutionary in certain sense, but it was highly critical of Spencer's evolution theory. No, he criticized Spencer's evolution theory. Actually, Durkheimian analysis begins with a critique to evolutionary approach. Right? Now, what was there in that approach that was criticized by Durkheim? Now, if you say about 1861, that was the period when many of the scientific disciplines which are developed today were not developed. Numismatics were not developed, paleontology was not developed, archaeology was not developed, etc., etc. Right? 1860s. So, some of the empirical support that Spencer had provided on the basis of some archaeological evidence or fossils evidence, right? But they were very few. They were very few. Means it was like snapshots on a long highway. One snap you have got of Delhi and another snap you have got of Moradabad. And the third snap is of Calcutta. On the basis of these scattered snaps, you are trying to create the image of the road that moves from Delhi to Kolkata. Means in between a lot of interpretation is involved. And what Durkheim had said? Interpretation does not have any scope in positive sociology. It's against the scientific methodology. Means sociological theories should be based purely on the facts that are observable from outside and should not involve any kind of interpretation. But the Spencer's theory of evolution was conjectural in nature. Conjecture means based on loosely gathered facts. So, if Durkheim wants to explain anything, what he will say? First observe. Observe some empirical facts. Observe some society. And then come to conclusion. Don't come to the conclusion about certain institutions of society on the basis of purely a model, and that is biological theory. Spencer's social evolution was more based on the biological model with very little empirical support. Science means what? Science means do not interpret. Positive science. What you should do? Observe the fact and then see the relationship and then arrive at generalization. Right? Now, as far as the religious practices of the complex societies are concerned, it consists of highly complex rites and rituals and a lot of differentiation. So, observation becomes very difficult. So, he said, to explain the origin of religion or the theory of religion, let us observe the simplest religion, simplest society that is existing in this world. And he found the simplest society in this world in the end of 19th century was that of Arunda tribe among the Australian Aborigines. Right down. Durkheim was of the view बस वो तो खत्म हो गया, तो क्रिटिसाइज हो गया. Durkheim was of the view that sociology will attain status of positive science or scientific status, in bracket, or scientific status, because we know now scientific method, even the non-positivist method is scientific. scientific status if its formulations are based on concrete empirical evidences. In order to explain the cause of religion, he took the religious practice of the simplest society existing contemporarily, which he found as Arunda tribes, Arundta, T is silent, Arunda tribe among Australian Aborigines having totemic or totemist religion. Right? Now actually Durkheim himself did not go and did the participant observation or conducted a study among the Arunda tribes. Some other anthropologists had done, and the name of those anthropologists is Spencer and Gilliam. Spencer, that same Spencer, not Herbert Spencer, and Gilliam, Guillem. Right? They had observed that, they had conducted the study, they had written the book. He, based on their analysis, he has propounded his theory of religion. Right? Now, if you look at the totemic practice found among the Arunda tribes of Australian Aborigines, they do not have the concept of God. There does not exist any supernatural God, but still he is saying that their practices is religion. That gives rise to another question: is God necessary for the existence of religion? According to Durkheim, God is not necessary for the existence of religion. Forthcoming question in UPSC. It has never come. Write down the name question, so that at that time you are not made bold, or you are not bowled completely. Existence of God is not necessary for the existence of religion. Right? In primitive society, totemic religion, among the Arunda tribes there is no concept of God. Among the ancient religion, Buddhism does not have the concept of God. Taoism, Confucianism, all do not have the concept of God. And in modern religions, nation does not have the concept of God. Nation is also considered as a religion. That is called by Robert Bellah as civil religion. I am giving 4 or 5 examples. On the basis of that, you can write this question. Right. So just write on this. It is not only that God is absent. God is absent only among the Australian Aborigines. There are many ancient religions like Buddhism in India, Taoism and Confucianism in China, Taoism and Confucianism in China do not have the concept of God. These religions are only philosophical teachings. These religions are only philosophical teachings. In the modern society, sociologists have come to believe that nation is evolving as a new religion. Nation is evolving as a new religion, which Robert Bellah calls civil religion, right? Because these religions do not have the idea of supernatural God. Rather, there is a national flag, and that flag is sacred. Today, to an extent, you can disfigure the figure of Prophet Muhammad, you can burn Gita, you can burn Bible. Can you burn Constitution of India? Can you burn national flag? Such a strong emotional attachment is there with that symbols, right? So what Durkheim is saying on the basis of the totemic practice that was prevalent among the Australian Aborigines, he says religion is all about the dichotomy of sacred and profane. Write down. For Durkheim, religion is all about the dichotomy of sacred and profane, and this idea he took from Fustal, F-U-S-T-A-L, Fustal, D-E-Day, Fustal Day, Colenges, C-O-U-L-L-A-N-G-E-S नाम है, Fustal Day Colenges, right? What he says that society divides, write down, society divides the object around us into or simply the object around us is divided into sacred and profane. Object around us into sacred and profane. Sacredness of an object is not due to sacredness of an object is not due to its intrinsic quality. Sacredness of an object is not due to its intrinsic quality, rather people believe it possesses such extraordinary qualities. And the sacredness of the object is identified by the rites and rituals that circumscribe it. A cylindrical stone you might find at many places, right? You go to Mumbai and on that beach, what is the name? Marine Drive. To protect the water sea impact, tetrapods are kept. Tetrapods, have you visited? Right? Tetrapods ऐसे निकला रहता है. Right? No, on the wall. Immediately after the wall, the tetrapods are, and people go and sit also on them. Now, this tetrapod is also, one part is in cylindrical form. It appears like God Shiva, right? But people sit on it. No one worships it. But cut that portion, bring that, put at some places, put some vermilion and some decoration, start worshipping. People will start believing that piece of stone as Lord Shiva. And any disrespect to this piece of stone will not be tolerated by the members of the society or members of that religious community. How do you recognize that it is sacred? Because it is circumscribed by certain rites and rituals. Rites means mantra. Rituals means what you do, offer water, milk, then flowers, then rice, achat, and all those things. Right? So these rites and rituals, when they circumscribe the object, we come to realize that it is sacred and it is observable from outside. Right? The UPSC has a peculiar habit of poking you. Right? They gave us short notes, sacred and profane. Right? If you look at this sacred explanation, the sacredness is based on something supernatural explanation. We believe that it possesses natural power, supernatural power, and that's why we worship it. Can you give a functional explanation of sacredness? Functional explanation means, yes, it does certain a real function, and that's why it is worshipped. It's not the imagination of possession of power, it's not the fear of supernatural power. No, that's the impact. That's impact. That's a later development. What I am saying, do you have an example in your mind in which an object is treated sacred because of its real or empirical utility. You are saying no. Tulsi tree, that's one example. Fire. If you look at all the most ancient religions, there are two ancient religions which are with us, right? One is Judaism. In fact, three we can identify: Zoroastrianism, right, and Hinduism. Vedic Hinduism, not Sanatan Hinduism. Post-Vedic, not post-Vedic Hinduism. If you look at all these religions, they all worship fire. Fire is most sacred, right? What's the contribution of fire in the life of those people? Fire, one of the most important contribution in the life of the primitive people, such people, was that it helped protected people from the fear of wild animals. So when fire was discovered, at that time there was plenty of wood and there was no problem of environmental pollution, right? You were getting woods free of cost. So when you are sleeping in the night, what you can do when you are taking the rest? You can burn a fire, right? And then no wild animal will come near to that. Other animals do not have such protective gear, and that's why we sleep. Animals do not sleep in that way. Our life became more secure because of that fire. And that's why once the life becomes more secure because of that fire, we are bound to treat it as sacred. Judaism, Zoroastrianism and Hinduism, Vedic Hinduism, all worship fire. Arya Samaj, everything Om Namah Swaha. Right? Fire is the sacred thing. You can say a secular explanation of the sacred character of a religion or religious object. Right? Similarly, he says Tulsi, but actually you can say that primitive man didn't know that much. Not there was of knowledge Tulsi. So for their sacred, definitely some belief was there. Like you can say about Tulsi, what about you can say about the banana tree? Right? Then people, many other things, right? Okay. So this was UPSC was asking some more explanation about sacredness. So sacred, which is considered as possessing supernatural quality, normally it is not due to intrinsic quality, but we can have in Durkheimian explanation, but we can have example of such sacred objects which had a functional contribution. Right? What is not sacred is profane. What is not sacred is profane. Means if things are not circumscribed by certain rites and rituals, are not provided any special status, comes under the day-to-day activities, that is becomes profane. And economic activities are mostly profane. Right? Write down. Durkheimian idea of totemism, as a religion cannot be understood without understanding the social organization of the Arunda tribes. Arunda tribes were divided into different clans. Arunda tribes were divided into different clans. Each clan identifies itself with an object called totem. The members of the clan consider themselves as the descendants of the totem. Strict clan exogamy is maintained. Strict clan exogamy was maintained. Right? Now, there was an object, and this object, these members of that clan, which was represented by that totem, considered themselves as their descendant or the totem as their ancestor. Right? Now, this totem may be the most trivial object around you. It may be a pumpkin, it may be a gourd, it may be tortoise, it may be a goat, it may be buffalo, and many other things. Right? So, each of the totem was not object of some importance or function. Rather, it was any object might be the most trivial object that is found around you. But the members of the clan consider themselves as descendant of that totem. It's similar to when we say we are descendant of our gotra. So when BJP said there is something wrong in the DNA of Arvind Kejriwal, he took the catch and said, my gotra is Bansal. So Modi ji is calling names to all those who are Bansals. So he polarized all Baniyas, Bansals are Baniyas, against Modi, BJP, the traditional vote bank of BJP, and it had a landslide victory in Delhi. Right? So, this is something like that we consider ourselves as descendant of that gotra. I belong to Kashyap gotra. Arvind Kejriwal Bansal. I don't know what you people belong to. But when there are certain religious ceremony is organized and the priest comes to perform the puja, then he asks the main person, take the name of your gotra. Right? Means your ancestor. Now this ancestor was the trivial object that was found around. Right? Now what you find in this Arunda tribes, that there are three kinds of things that were considered as sacred by the members of the clan. First, the totemic object. First, the totemic object. Suppose you are considering yourself to belong to goat clan. So goats become sacred for them. Not only goat, wherever the goat is imprinted, that becomes sacred. And each of the member of the clan have that goat tattooed on their body. This practice of tattooing has started from there. Right? So if I belong to goat clan, there will be goat tattooed on my body. It may be tattooed or it may be simply painted. Tattooing is more permanent. In fact, it is permanent. Right? If you want to remove the tattoo, it is a very painful procedure. You have to remove the upper layer of your skin. Right? So earlier they might be painting only. Later on, when they discovered some of the elements which provide the permanent imprint. So three objects are sacred: totem, totemic emblem, that is the sign wherever it is carved, and the members of the clan. Because that symbol is there on their body. Right? So Durkheim asks question. A clan is what? That totem, totemic emblem and members of the clan. So isn't by worshipping totem, people worship society or the clan itself? So he says, religion is nothing else but society transfigured. Right now, among the Arunda tribes, in a clan, three things were treated as sacred. Three things were treated as sacred. Number one, totem or the totemic object. Totem or the totemic object. Second, totemic emblem or symbol of totem, totemic emblem or symbol of totem. Third, the members of the clan on which the totemic emblem is engraved. The three together constitute the clan. The three together constitute the clan and helps achieve clan solidarity while worshipping totem. The three together constitute the clan and help achieve solidarity, clan solidarity, help achieve clan solidarity, worshipping the totem. So Durkheim concludes, religion and religious worship is nothing but the worship of society itself. Totem is society transfigured. Totem is society transfigured. By worshipping totem, solidarity is achieved. Hence, according to Durkheim, religion brings solidarity in the society. By worshipping God, members of the group, worship society itself. Right? So he concludes that religion brings solidarity in the society. Right? Now, if you look at this, Durkheimian conclusion is based on the observation of a simple society, which he applied for all the society, which is itself at fault. Right? Inductive method. Right? Now Durkheim said scientific method means observe the society and then explain. But by analyzing simple society's religion, you are trying to describe the religion of the complex societies. So Durkheimian analysis smacks of an evolutionary trend too. That simple society has evolved into complex society. So simple society's religion has evolved into the religion of the complex society. That's a criticism of Durkheim. I don't. Durkheimian analysis of religion and social solidarity, Durkheimian analysis of religion and social solidarity is based on his observation of a simple society which consists of a unified system of beliefs and practices. Modern society system of beliefs and practices is single system of beliefs and practices. Modern society is different. It consists of groups each having its own unique system of beliefs and practices. That's why Merton says, that's why Merton says, write down, that's why Merton says, religion and religious practices, in a plural society or pluralistic society may be the prime source of conflict and communalism. May be the prime source of conflict and communalism. Raymond Aron also argues that if religion brings solidarity, it will bring partial solidarity. In modern pluralistic societies. And hence, partial solidarity in modern pluralistic society. And by the same token, it will bring hostility among them. Right? Now, how this hostility will come? Now, let us take the example of India. Right? In India, we have three major religions: Hindu, Islam, and Christianity. Right? Now, if you talk about the core values of Hinduism, it has certain core values. One of the most important component of the core values of Hinduism is vegetarianism. And out of that, most further important, most crucial is cow. Cow is the most sacred element of Hinduism, and consequently vegetarianism. Right? Why cow is sacred for Indians or Hindus? Why was it considered as a source of wealth? Yes. Now, the religion, the Hindu religion that we practice today, owes to its origin into a stage when the hunting and gathering societies transformed into settled agricultural system or agricultural system. Right? Otherwise, during Vedic period, there was no restriction on beef eating. During Vedic period, sacrifice, Vedic rituals are also known as sacrificial rituals, in which the animal's life were sacrificed, including cow. And people used to eat also. That has been modified in Arya Samaj. Instead of animal sacrifice, they have modified only dhoop, incense stick, that is being put in the fire. So, Arya Samaj is not exactly going back to Vedic society. We speak, go back to Vedas of Dayananda Saraswati, but we don't go into the spirit what he says. It was Britishers who branded it as a communalist. as a fundamentalist, right? So naturally cow becomes sacred because cow helped in two ways. Cow gave birth to oxen who were helpful in, who could be domesticated. You cannot domesticate lions. You can domesticate goats, but goats are not powerful enough to do cultivation. So cow was one such animal who was domesticatable. It was domesticated for the purpose of cultivation, and that's why it was forbidden, but at the same time it provided an alternative food in the form of milk. So both way it is contributing. If it is restricting one type of food, it is providing an alternative food which made people equally strong. Cow milk is said to be complete food. It consists of every single thing that you require for your survival. So cow was sacred because we were living in that area which possessed cultivable land, plain area, abundance of land was there. So you have to clear the land. Iron was discovered during the Mauryan period, just before that. So lands were cleared, cultivation was done. Cow provided a lot of help in the cultivation, and that's why it was a source of wealth, and that's why it became sacred for us. Right? You can ask why it is sacred even today. Here you have to remember Weber's one distinction. Formation of a theory is different from formation of a regime is different from the functioning of the regime. Regime means an order. There is an inertia in our cultural items. So something has become sacred. The factors that made it sacred, even if they are absent, the sacredness is not withdrawn, it continues. Newton's first law of motion. Put an object in motion, withdraw the force, object will remain in motion. This is called inertia in an object. There is inertia in culture also. When a cultural item evolves, it possesses inertia, and because of that inertia it continues for a long time. So still the sacredness of cow has not lost its inertia today. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but till 2015 it has not lost its inertia, and that's why it is still sacred, cultural, important cultural symbol of Hindus. Right? Look at Islam and Christianity. Where did they originate? West Asia. West Asia, its geography is characterized by desert. Right? In desert, there is water scarcity, lack of cultivable land. But in deserts, there are certain shrubs, plantations, that is not consumable for human being. But on them certain animals survive. And by cooking those animals, killing and cooking those animals, human being can survive. So they do not have any importance of vegetarianism. If Prophet Muhammad would have said, or so to Jesus, don't eat meat, people would have killed them itself. Right? Because Parsons' theory says a culture should not put demand on the members of the society which the members cannot fulfill. If you put too much demand on me, our relationship is definitely going to break. And if I demand too much from you, naturally you will never come to me. So culture, if it is putting too much demand which the members cannot meet, the society is bound to witness more deviance. So it was not possible for those prophets to advocate vegetarianism. In that situation, survival of the people itself would have become or would have endangered. So here the core values is vegetarianism, sacredness of cow. These people do not see. So the core values are mutually opposite. And the mutual opposition of the core values of two religions lies in the description of their origin, the causes of their origin. Right? So what will happen in India if solidarity occurs? It will bring solidarity among them. Right? So when solidarity occurs, cultural symbol will be heightened. Vegetarianism, cow will be given a lot of sacredness emphasized. They will do not see anything. So conflict. These two conflict will lead to antagonism. This is one of the most important reasons according to K. N. Panikkar for the communalization of Indian society. K. N. Panikkar says, historian K. N. Panikkar, that it's not Britishers who are responsible for communalizing Indian society. But because of two events, communalization of Indian society had already taken place in the 19th century. One, replacement of Urdu by Hindi as the main language in Hindustan area. Hindustan area means north of Vindhyas. From Bihar to Punjab. And second, cow protection movement. So what he says, because of these two events, communal features appeared. And that communal features was utilized by Britishers to further their own interest. Right now we are into the first paper. So what we are saying, that according to Raymond Aron, if religion brings solidarity, it will bring partial solidarity within a subgroup. And the core values may contradict each other. And because of that contradiction of core values, conflict will emerge. Right? So UPSC asked a question. India is a multi-religious society. USA is also a multi-religious society. Then why India faces problem of communalism? America does not faces any serious problem of communalism. No, we have said this. After that what we are saying, we are coming to only one. That America is also a religiously pluralistic society. Hindus are there, Muslims are there, right? Christians are there, Jews are there, XYZ are there. India also have Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Zoroastrian, Christians, right? But never in US suffers from the problem of racial conflict. Right? We are not going into that. India faces the problem of communalism, that is religious conflict. We do not have any racial conflict. So two factors we are saying, one factor similar, that is also a pluralistic society, this is also a religiously pluralistic society. Then why it is so that India faces a problem of serious communalism, whereas West do not face the problem of, or USA do not face any serious problem of communalism. That is one part. But if the Constitution says, Constitution of India, Article 25 to 28 also says the same thing. Who says all the members of the society obey the prescriptions of the Constitution? Means, you can say that the Constitution of USA is implemented more strictly, the Constitution of India is implemented less strictly. But strict implementation cannot be thought of only by using the force. In fact, we have to deal with the various circumstances. We have to need to deal with the distinguished circumstances of India and USA. Right? One of the explanations that I am giving here, let me compare the religious composition of the India and USA. Right? Religious composition of India and USA. Right? India, USA. First thing that you will see, that source of religious composition of India is census. Census collects data on religious basis also. The reason is Indian secularism is different from that of secularism of USA. Secularism means relationship between state and religion, not secularization. Secularization is different from secularism. Right. So, American secularism is defined by the curtain wall, iron curtain between the religion and state. An iron curtain is drawn between the religion and state. Means state has nothing to do with the religion. And that's why even census in USA is not conducted on religious basis. There is a complete policy of non-interference of a state in the religious domain. USA. In India, we toe the line of the Gandhian policy, which says, now this has nothing to do with the communalism, but I am just giving some information. Gandhiji said, religion, those who think religion and politics are two distinct entities have neither understood religion nor politics. So Gandhi does not see disengagement of religion and politics or state. That's why we have a policy. We conduct census on religious basis. We facilitate people of different religion to go for journey or pilgrimage. We subsidize Hajj Yatris. We also facilitate or subsidize Mansarovar Yatra. We do not have a policy of sending some of the Christians to Vatican. Who knows? Because their number is very small. Tomorrow we may have that also. Even religion actively interferes in the, state actively interferes in the religious matters. Article 17. Abolition of untouchability. So, census on religious basis, right? Facilitation of pilgrimages, spiritual attainment, right? And proactive intervention by the state to eliminate some disgraceful practices like untouchability. Means religion and politics, even at constitutional level, is not completely disengaged, which acts as an alibi for the vested interest. Somewhere there will be a thin line where you are using the religion for the political interest or where you are using the religion for the welfare of the society. A thin line is drawn. In America, there is a thick line. So, a scope for politicization of religion is less in USA, more in India. One thing. Are you getting it? This I was talking about the census character and what is the policy towards secularism of India and USA. Right. If you look at India, 80% of the population is Hindu, then 13% Muslim, right? 2.3% Sikh, 2.3% Christians, then Buddhist and other information I do not have, right? If you look at the USA, though there is no census data, but some religious organizations have attempted to collect the data. Christians 76%. 76%. Atheist, those who do not believe in any God or religion, 15%. Now consider who are these atheists? Erstwhile Christians. So they carry the culture of Christianity. They may not be believing, but there is no cultural contradiction with the Christians. Religious contradiction is there, but cultural contradiction is not there. Then we have 0.4% Hindus. Hindus 0.4%. Muslims 0.6%. Then we have Jews 1.2 to 2.2%. Buddhist 0.5 to 0.9% and so on. Look at the figure in absolute number. 13% means 20 crore. 2/3 of the population of USA. Two-thirds of the population of USA. Can they easily succumb to majority hegemony? दस आदमी मिलके एक आदमी को दबा सकते हो, 10 आदमी मिलकर 3 आदमी को दबा दोगे क्या? कुछ ना कुछ तो फाइट कर ही लेगा, राइट? सो दे आर पावरफुल एनफ टू रिएक्ट अगेंस्ट द हेगेमनी ऑफ द मेजॉरिटी कम्युनिटी. पावरफुल enough to react majority hegemony. They are significant number. Politically speaking, Muslims directly have impact on around 100 parliamentary constituency and indirectly around 200 parliamentary constituency, right? Direct influence in 100 parliamentary, around 105 as per the latest, and around 200 indirectly. India is a democratic country, so also USA. But 100 to 200 of the seats out of 546 has a lot of significance. So political power, political capital is also with them enough, right? Third important, very important characteristic that you see, if you look at these populations, as per government estimates, there is a lot of education. But there is a difference between literacy and education, right? Illiteracy and poverty is rampant. Illiteracy and poverty rampant. We can make a reference to such a committee report which says Muslims' condition is worse than scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in India. Right? Now, if such is a situation, there will be a feeling of alienation enough to impart feeling of alienation. But as far as these two factors are concerned, illiteracy and poverty, it makes emotional appeal highly beneficial for the political class, conducive for voters' mobilization on emotional issues like religion. Right? So, religion becomes more appealing. And hence, politicians are able to use religion for the polarization of society, polarization of societies, right? Then there is historical reason of India and Pakistan division and so on, core values differences are there. Now look at these people. Who are these people? Immigrants from Asia, maximum. Immigrants from Asia. And who are these people? If you answer that question, they are career oriented, educated, middle class people. Career oriented, educated, middle class people. Means they have a rational thinking capacity. Rational thinking capacity. They will not indulge in any activity that is going to be detrimental for their career structure. They are educated enough so they know well what is good for them, what is bad for them. For them, development is more important than religiosity. So the situation that makes communalization of politics is absent in USA, it is present. That's why religion is highly politicized in India, but not politicized in USA. That's why USA does not face any serious problem of communalism, whereas India faces a very serious problem of communalism. Thank you for today. Tomorrow we will not have class, right? So we are going to directly meet on Tuesday, right? Use these 4 days. I have some work, right? Tuesday we will be starting with Weber, right? Thank you.